right, y'all, we are continuing our 2024 Halloween show for this episode. Make sure you go back and listen to show number 548 to hear Eli's and Rachel's ideas for a restaurant and an attraction in Villians Land at Walt Disney World. We hope everyone has had a great start to their Thanksgiving season. As always, thank you for your support and enjoy the rest of this creative discussion.
You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel. Oh, I love the way their foul little minds work. Yeah.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libations.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs and not artistic cream puffs. This is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. For this show, we continue presenting our 2024 Halloween show about Villians Land. And look, this isn't your typical polished practice Pixie Dust and Disney podcast. No way. We are not in the Disney parks every day, letting you know that the new Mary Poppins ear headband is available over there at Epcot.
That's right.
In case you're wondering, if you ever wanted a Mary Poppins ear headband, now's your chance. Go over to Epcot. You got it.
I'm imagining that I'm probably the only one on this show that's worn an ear headband to the parks.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that.
No, I've always worn the ear with the cap, but my daughters have worn the headband.
I hate those things.
Do they hurt?
Well, they're not the worst. They do start to kind of get uncomfortable, hurt after a while. But you got to take them off every time you go on a ride. And if you're in a show, you got to, you don't want to be rude. You take them off. And
good work, pal.
It's just like this extra thing you have to manage. And then like I sunburn really easily. And if I'm wearing those dang ears, I'm not wearing a baseball cap. And so now my face is burned. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I stopped buying them because they're not functional for my life.
So we are not at Epcot every day telling you, don't worry about this freaking ear headband.
Yeah, don't worry about the ears.
God, you're going to burn.
They're not functional for your life.
Not functional.
Never functional.
Not functional.
Waste of money.
Do not function. That's right, Kev. We're just here to drink, talk some Disney, and tell you that, you either live long enough to wear the headband or you see yourself become the villain.
There you go.
There you go. And either way that goes, please keep listening both ways because you listeners have the easy part. All you guys have to do is to listen up to what we think up while we drink up. And there's a lot to ponder on.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Rachel. And I don't wear ear headbands.
And look, the easiest way to support us is to book a vacation with Rachel, and a little piece of that comes back to support us. Also, please leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show. And make sure you like and subscribe as well as turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. Also, we want to thank our Patreon supporters for all that they do for us. They're awesome. All right, y'all, enough for our jibber jabber. Let's conclude our discussion of our ideas for Villians Land. You.
I will find you.
All right, so coming in number 3, this is we chose. It's going to be me. There's my bump.
Okay.
All right, so I'll truth be told, I actually did change midstream in the past couple of days. I'm like, I was coming up with an idea where I was going to use all the villains and stuff, whatnot, but then I came up with a different idea. I was like, all right, maybe I'll just use that.
You're theme fluid.
I'm theme fluid
Yes.
and adjacent and all that.
Yes. Theme curious.
I'm curious. I experimental.
Yes.
All that.
The mercurial.
Yes.
All right.
And so truth be told, I spent more time on the attraction because I was just so enthralled by that. And I gave some love to the restaurant, but it's not as good as it usually is. But so I apologize to listeners that have been listening to the show, but it's okay because I like this. So first of all, let's establish this for Villians Land. The ride system I'm using is a boom system. And if you remember a boom system, like the boom coaster system, like Donkey Kong attraction in Universal Epic Universe.
Okay.
They do it on a roller coaster. I decided to use it with a boat.
Boom, boom,
And the reason, so it's going to be a boom. There's going to be a separate track on the side of it. And so it allows the boat to fly out of the water all over the place, maybe back into the water, maybe back over the water, under the water, whatever else.
Wait, the boom is an explosion that sends the boat.
No.
The
It's
boom
just
is think picture like a boom mic.
yes.
Yeah.
When you're filming a movie, like it's like a separate thing that there's two tracks, one that you're actually on, and a second
It's
that's
what
like
happens.
a fake track.
Oh.
Where it looks like you're on.
Yes, and the reason why I picked this is because I wanted to elevate the Peter Pan ride system, which I love. It's essentially a boom system itself. It's a hanging ride system where the boat hangs from the track, but it's not a coaster. It's not everything else. But we have the technology now where you can take that boom and you can move it. You can move the track. You can move the boat. You can do 360 with it. You can do all kind of stuff. So that's basically it's just an advanced Peter Pan ride system that I put on a coaster track that now you can do 360s with it, both in the horizontal plane and the vertical plane.
That's cool.
You follow? So that's the ride system I came up with because it's very appropriate for what I'm about to do with this pretty world.
Oh, do it, Kevin. Do it.
So Villians Land is a very self-aware world. It's like, why the hell are all these villains from different universes in the same place? And we're about to figure this out. So the way it works is that the entrance is over by Haunted Mansion. You know, you go past Haunted Mansion, they're building us all out. It's trees. And I really love the way that they did Rise of the Resistance, where you can't tell that you're actually entering the attraction. So I wanted it kind of built into the landscape of the land. So if it wasn't for the Fast Pass signage or the ride signage, you just be walking into it. And so that's what I'm thinking. You're entering over a Haunted Mansion. You're going through the woods. The show building itself is concealed. It's a very thick forest canopy. So it doesn't matter what time of day it is. Once you enter into it, it's very thick, kind of like the Brazilian rainforest. It's very dark.
Boom.
Because it's very, very thick. And so at some point while you're walking through this forest, you enter a pre-show area. And you hear the words, "You are about to enter the realm of those banished away in favor of internal conflict."
What you saying again?
That's right. And that's like a little tag of the way the stories are going. There's no villains, but they're working on internal conflict of the characters itself. But anyway,
I was deep.
this is the places where you can find all that. And all of a sudden, Cheshire Cat shows himself in a tree.
Oh, okay.
Cheshire
I
Cat.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see the eyes, and you see the smile, like, oh my God, what the hell? And he says, "You are probably wondering how the land of villainy came to be. I can tell you that, but it was not by choice. Follow me if you dare, should you wish to learn more."
If you dare.
So you see a smile and his eyes move forward through the forest. And so it's like, he says, beckon you to come on. And so you follow him through the forest. And the guests eventually follow him into the cemetery area where they see Dr. Facilier emerge in a tombstone.
Hell no, this cat cemetery.
He's in a cemetery, like a New Orleans cemetery. It's above the ground. If you remember from the movie, he's stuck in there because his friends on the other side dragged him into the other side.
Yeah, he's got that frozen
He's got the frozen face, but he's been able to figure out and negotiate a way where he can communicate. So that face starts talking to you. And Facilier, he's still in the tomb. He's like, "Yeah, I'm over here and not over on that mountain." And he gestures towards
That's
Tiana's
nice.
Bayou Adventure, which just happens to have a nice little break through the woods
Okay.
where you can see
Okay.
the thing. It's like, yeah, you can see the mountain through the forest and the trees and stuff. And he says, "I'm stuck here because some silly old doctor wanted my voodoo magic."
I like that. Incorporates what's going on now and what's happening.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he say? And by the way, folks, there is no mountains in New Orleans.
What? That's right.
Just in case anyone hadn't
Yes.
been listening for the last couple of years where you've been saying that.
There's no mountains in New Orleans.
That's right. Come visit us. You'll see for yourself.
So he continues to tell us a story about how some crazy ass doctor was going around collecting the most villainous people and with the hopes of harnessing all of their power because he wants to just dominate the world. And at some point during the pre-show, Dr. Doofenshmirtz pops up and says, yeah. Silences Facilier with the help of his friends from the other side. Just totally silences Facilier. And we're like, where the hell did Dr. Doofenshmirtz get this power? but he had some help. So he silences Vasily and he says, why don't I show you how I did this?
And this is something that people just wander into just in walking into the land?
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be where it's like, it's like, hey, I can go beyond Haunted Mansion now. I don't know what I'm walking into, but all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm in a pre-show. And it's like, okay, do I commit or do I turn around and go back?
Is the attraction.
It's part of the attraction, Because I wanted to where they didn't know they were entering the attraction.
Gotcha.
But like they're actually entering the attraction.
Oh, you are sly with it.
So I wanted it slick. It's like, oh, do we commit to moving forward or do we turn around and get the hell out of here? I don't know. So anyway, so Doofenshmirtz is like, I'm going to just show you. I'm going to show you the awesome power thanks to the help of my friends on the other side. Because somehow he befriended the Facilier's friends on the other side. And he says, this way you can experience what I have done so far.
Well, it has to be an innator.
Of course it has to be an innator, yes. Yeah. So he goes beyond the graveyard and, you encounter what is known as the River Styx.
Yeah.
Right? It takes you to the other side. Right. And the side of which the guests are on, which we're on as we're entering this, you can look down the way down the bank and you can see Villians Land from a far off distance. Now, granted, we are in a show building now, so it looks like Villians Land is way off in the distance. And on the other side is, of course, darkness, and that's where like the afterlife and all that kind of stuff.
Ooh-wee.
And Doofenshmirtz is like, hey, get in a boat. I'll take you down to the bank, and it's no problem. We'll get you into Villians Land. It's great. It's awesome. So you load the boats on the river. And if you remember, this boat is attached to a boom and the boom is hidden off to the side on a track. So the friends on the other side take you up and they shoot you up at about a 105-degree angle. So all of a sudden your boat's leaving the water and it's shooting you straight up into the black sky. So it shoots you up, and I wanted to recreate in Peter Pan when you go over London, in a miniature version of London, I wanted to recreate that. So when you shoot up over, and the friends on the other side shoot you out, they shoot you on above a miniature version of Walt Disney World. So you can see the Magic Kingdom over here, Epcot over here, Hollywood Studios, all the different golf courses and the parks and all the stuff. And then as you go through the ride, you rapidly approach Hollywood Studios right as Waldo crashes into the orchestra pit. So Waldo crashes in the orchestra pit. You crash into the orchestra pit. The momentum of us rolls us forwards and slips us backstage. So the audience can't see us.
So we're in Hollywood Studios now.
We're in Hollywood Studios now. Waldo does a thing and we crash too, but the audience doesn't know any better, and we slip backstage. Doofenshmirtz sees Sweetums and he says, "Hey, you look scary and evilly," and he snatches him up using his vermin collectinator. So he catches Sweetums and he puts him in his little box or whatever else. And just at right that time, the chef brings out his gun and he blows up the entire theater, and we get shot out of the theater.
This is like an acid trip over there.
It is.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
And we're shooting everywhere.
We're shooting everywhere. Think about it. We're on a roller coaster track, and it's the boom. And it's a boat that's flying through the air. And we have friends, and it's crazy. Mm. So Doofenshmirtz says, "Yeah, man, look, I'll use our transportinator, and I'll zap us back to Villians Land."
See?
However, he accidentally uses his time machine. And for those who watched Phineas and Ferb, he had a time machine, and we are taken back to 2006.
I'm so glad I went first.
So we go back to 2006 Walt Disney World, and 2006, we reappear over Animal Kingdom and rapidly approach Expedition Everest.
Do we get easier fast passes at this point?
No, we get a working Yeti.
the Yeti's still working. The Yeti swipes at us. We spin around in time for us to see that Dr. Doofenshmirtz crashes into the Yeti, knocking out, we'll say, a pair of batteries.
Okay.
Doofenshmirtz knocks out a pair of batteries, and the Yeti stops moving. No! He's like frozen. He's like, that's it.
And that's the explanation.
That's the cause.
Wow.
The background music stops. We all kind of look at each other. We're like, we need to get out of here. Let's get out of here. So Doofenshmirtz and his friends move us along, and along the way, Doofenshmirtz hits us with the time machine again because he wants to get us back to where we were, and he lands us at 11:59 on April 2nd, 2023. We emerge over Epcot and crash into the taco barges that used to be Harmonious.
Good Lord, child.
And somehow all the Harmonious barges are all flames. Sorry, Rachel.
Why we everything explode when we show up?
But that's why Harmonious abruptly ended, is because we crashed into it and blew up everything.
Oh, I think I get what
That's
you're
exactly
going.
what happened.
Okay.
And that caused the Maleficent dragon to catch on fire, right?
Yeah, all that stuff.
We're
Yeah, that's
the
what caused
villain.
that show to
We're
shut down.
explaining
all kinds of
everything.
stuff. Yeah.
We're the
explaining
villain.
everything.
We're seeing all the bad ends of everything.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So now that happens. We're like, oops. And so Doofenshmirtz hits a time machine again, and he moves us forward to 2024. But not only do we make it to Magic Kingdom, but of course we accidentally go backwards in time. He meant to take us to 2024, but he takes us to April 1994.
Because the clock tower was off.
Something like that. Because Doofenshmirtz, he's kind of a doof. He's a very doof. He doesn't know how to control the time machine. And this time we crash into 20,000 Leagues Lagoon, which creates a hole in the lagoon, drains the lagoon. The lagoon no longer works, and that's why it closed.
So, wait.
So
What is
he's doing
what
all
is
this stuff.
happening?
That's exactly what we're saying. It's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on?
I'm liking this.
It doesn't matter. Because Doofenshmirtz like, hey, you know what? I'm going to hit the time machine and we're going to get us back to 24. It's
His
like, all right,
forehead is red. Like I don't see that too often.
Yes. So realizing his mistake, Doofenshmirtz hits the time machine again. But of course, yeah, we launch across a walkway. So we get out of 20,000 Leagues. We're launching across the walkway. But this time we move to May. But it's only May 2012. So we're getting closer, right? So we're getting closer back to where we need to be, 2024 or whatever the time is. But this time we crash into Snow White and the Queen in the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
What?
And somehow we hit something, we hit the mirror, and we pop up straight up in the air. And then off in the distance, you see Snow White and the evil queen land in Wilderness Lodge.
I think we took a picture with them when that happened.
We
I
did.
think.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture with your.
We did.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's how they ended up at the Wilderness Lodge.
What is
because
happening right now?
I don't know what happened, but Doofenshmirtz did something stupid, and we sent them straight to Wilderness Lodge. It was the craziest thing.
Just let him go. Just let him go. This is he's
right.
explaining every travesty.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I like the. I'm
When he
quiet.
gets to why the Adventurers Club closed, I'm
man.
gonna really be sucked into this.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I'm sucked into it now because it's almost like the Villians Land is like every villainy that the corporation has done.
Yes.
Is
We're
that
explaining why
fair?
those things are happening.
That's a genius in the historical part of it. So
That's right.
As long as the historian explains what
You're doing
happened
good,
in the
Kev.
timeline, I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
Keep it up. Keep
All
it
right.
up.
Just go ahead. I'm
So this
sorry.
time, he's trying to fix it. He's getting so close. It's 2000 is 2018 now, right? It's 2012. Sorry, it's 2012. Of course, eventually Snow White and Evil Queen create the restaurant and it opens in 2018. But anyway, he hits the time machine again, and we shoot up in the air and we come back down to present day. As we're coming down, we notice, man, Big Thunder is getting awfully close. We're getting awfully close, and then we just slam right into Big Thunder and just take it completely out.
God dang, boy!
So much so they got to close Big Thunder for a year.
So
a year and a half.
So we're
Wait
the
a minute. Wait a
villains.
minute. Okay.
We're the villains on this ride, essentially.
Apparently, we're the reason why we closed Big Thunder.
So we're
I'm
gonna,
not-
wait. So what you're trying to
you
say
go.
is that Big Thunder is going to still be closed while Villains Land is open?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
So
Oh, that was a check fact.
No, I was just curious.
This blue sky. Anything can happen.
well, that's
Bluest sky.
that's what I'm thinking is going.
right.
You know, and the good thing is that we're using this ride system plus some theater and physical sets, so we can easily change it once Big Thunder opens.
This is what I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
So, like, that was awesome. First of all,
Yeah.
so
Well, you're still going.
I'm still going. Yeah.
I'm quiet then.
Yes.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Yep. So yeah, now we crash in Big Thunder in the area known as Villians Land, and basically that ends a ride. But if you remember, Sweetums was captured. Doofenshmirtz captured Sweetums when we crashed into the Muppet Vision 3D. So he still has a version of Sweetums the entire time. So while we're trying to get back into the unload area, you see video footage of Doofenshmirtz putting Sweetums back into Muppet Vision 3D back in 1994. But this time, he doesn't drop him off in the ride. He's outside of the ride after the chef has blown the wall in the back of the thing, which is why you have two Sweetums. You have the Sweetums inside of the attraction. You have the Sweetums that's peeking outside of the hole. And the Sweetums outside the hole is like, wait, I see myself. I don't understand what's going on here. But that's why there's two Sweetums in the Muppet Vision 3D ride.
This is why you need Jean-Claude Van Damme in Time Cop.
Yes. Yes.
Because he would explain to you that two matters of the same type cannot occupy the same space at the same time.
But Doofenshmirtz doesn't know that. And he
I
just
must
throws them
be-
in there. And then that's why you see Sweetums come out at the end in the audience. And then you see Sweetums in the theater in the back looking through the hole. And it's like, that's why there's two Sweetums, because he accidentally brought them back at the wrong time period. And then now exists two Sweetums.
Can I say this is why I went first? Because there was no way I was following that. There was no way I could come behind that. That
was brilliant.
Yes,
that was
thank you,
brilliant.
thank
The
you,
way
thank
you went ahead and explained every
history.
wrong thing going
Every
on.
change.
Yes.
I think the corporation would probably look at you with a side eye.
They'll never build it.
Yeah, never build it.
They'll never
But it's
build
blue
it.
sky. But it's blue
It's
sky.
Blue sky, and it's like,
But-
I want to, if I had this happen, I would totally write it, because it's a very
Yes.
malleable ride system. Where
Yes.
there's a lot of excitement. There's a
Yes.
lot of twisting and turning. The way that the ride system is built, if I knew AutoCAD, I would totally build it so you could see what I was envisioning. You could totally turn the boat over. You can turn the boat on top of itself, whatever else, 360, horizontal or vertical. So there's a lot of ways to manipulate the vantage viewpoint of the guest.
But what's the genius of that genesis of idea is that you go and say, hey, don't worry about IP and this and that. Like, look at yourself, look in the park, look in the parts that
Look
you
in
liked
yourself.
about
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And then the things that you find wrong with it, we're going to try to explain it for you in a very chaotic but yet smooth way.
It's a very, because it's Dr.
With two
Doofenshmirtz,
fireworks.
it's very chaotic for sure. Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
but I
that's
like
kind of
that.
how villains
Like,
are.
yeah.
Chaotic and
Yep.
smooth.
I love it.
It's like villain school.
Yeah.
You know,
no.
you say all these things go wrong. We're not trying to fix this, but yes,
This
as
is
a
why
villain,
all the things happen.
That's pretty.
So it never
cerebral.
really explains why all the villains got there, but you can kind of extrapolate from that how that happened.
So, like, for your restaurant idea, do you order something off the menu and you get the wrong dish every time?
You
Is that-
should.
That's good.
You should, but after that experience, you want a drink. And
Oh, okay,
Doofenshmirtz
okay.
was
Definitely
like,
want to drink.
whoo, I need something. And so when you exit, you don't exit to a gift shop.
Okay,
Disney does that a lot.
Yes.
I want to exit into a bar.
a full-on bar.
I want a full-on bar with walk-around characters, a la the Adventurers Club, where you get to meet all these guys. You get to talk to them. It's like,
I
how
get
did you get here? It's like, oh, he can tell you a story of how you got into this Villians Land. It's like, why I'm here and what Doofenshmirtz's whole influences with all this.
You break it up into like a phase on the ride, and then like when you go into that part, you have like a phase to coincide with it. So anybody that went on, we can say, oh, that's a guy. If I want to learn more about this
Exactly, yeah. And Doofenshmirtz,
that.
before he goes off to put Sweetums back, he's like, "Hey, talk to these guys. They're all here. They can explain how I brilliantly brought them back to this whole one world."
Wow.
And stuff. So then you go into that. It's kind of like, Adventurers Club. And then, of course, there's a bunch of different rooms. There's like a little show in another room where you can hear stories. But then there's also a restaurant where you have a bunch of stuff. And I was thinking, I wanted food that they didn't already have. So I expect the restaurant to have some Greek food, Korean food, Brazilian, Vietnamese, Filipino, all different kinds of stuff that you wouldn't find anywhere else. But I wanted it more like one of those insult restaurants, since we're in Villians Land. So like Ed DeBevick's in Chicago, or one of those places where the waiters are just like to you, kind of stuff, but not, I mean, Disney, they're not going to be totally bad to you, but they're not going to treat you very nice.
It's like the Primetime Cafe.
Yeah. So kind of like
I'm just
Primetime
saying,
Cafe.
after hearing how bad Disney has been to everybody and what's went wrong with them, you want to go and then have the cast member give them some more.
Yeah, I want
down.
the villains to tell them the story of how they got there and all that kind of stuff.
Makes sense though. The villains.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
villains.
So yeah, that's my concept. So
That
it's
is
mostly the ride,
incredible.
yes.
You need
That's deep.
one of your characters at your restaurant needs to be like an up and coming villain. Like he wants to be a villain, but he's just not quite villainous
He's not
enough.
there
Like,
yet, yeah.
He's trying to be bad, but
Working
then he
for it.
helps an old lady across the street.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Damn it, I did it again!" Like you need somebody like that.
Yeah.
He'll
that'd
never
be great.
uncover the secret, so he'll ask each person that comes from the ride, "What did you learn?"
But I love that because he'll also converse with the other villains and try to get their secrets of how to be
Right.
a better villain and stuff. And
Exactly.
so you'll hear them converse and you'll jump into their
I like
conversation.
that.
You have some drinks. It's all good. Yeah.
I like that. I like the fact that it incorporates the history. It allows you to like answer certain questions in a fun way.
yeah.
And then when you go forward, it still keeps that narrative going, and you keep it interactive.
And it brings Phineas and Ferb, which I do like Phineas and Ferb.
I do love
series. That's
Phineas
good
and
stuff.
Ferb.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
And
Dr.
Doofenshmirtz is great.
awesome.
All the innators are great.
Yes.
So this keeps him. He's technically a villain, but he's like a goofy ass.
He's a lovable villain.
He's a lovable, just not effective villain. But he somehow he gets everybody into this world, and so now they have to coexist with each other. So yeah, there's my
Bravo
concept.
to you, man. You swung for the
thank you.
fences on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That was a challenge.
I was
yeah.
literally writing. I changed courses because I was going to explain it a different way, but I'm like, I'm going to use Doofenshmirtz.
When
Yeah.
I finally figured out when your theme was, I'm like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's really brilliant.
It took some time, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to follow that.
Like you did so much on the boom coaster. I'm like, okay, so there's a technology. No. It's all about Disney wrongs
Yes.
being explained.
It's being explained
Yeah.
why it
Wow.
was like that and so abruptly. Yes, that's
Yes.
absolutely right.
yeah, corporate's
Very well
the
done,
villain.
sir.
Well, thank you. Thank
Calls
you. I appreciate
coming
it.
from
Yeah.
inside
these
the
are,
house.
These are always fun. Yeah.
You about as smooth as Bobby Brown. Yeah. What's up, boy?
Oh,
Smooth
I
as
wouldn't
what?
beat it.
Bobby Brown.
I don't know if I beat up anybody.
No.
I
Not
don't
smooth.
want.
Not
I don't want to
smooth.
do that.
I was just having
I
some
do that, yes.
I'm still stuck in the 90s. Time warp.
Bobby Brown is too hot to handle, too cold to hold.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough. Every little step he takes gets him in trouble.
Yes.
All right.
All right. If we're a bowling team, bringing up the anchor position. we
Boom!
got
Oh, wow,
Danny.
yeah.
I will find you.
Oh. There's okay. Wow.
Yes.
Well, that's fairly accurate of your Mondays through Thursdays.
Oh, pretty every day of the week thus far. Yeah. It's been a rough week. But hey, I sat down, I looked at this, and this is really a project I couldn't wait to tackle. But I got to tell you, immediately I knew exactly what I wanted to do. The problem was I just didn't think that it would fit in Villians Land, at least at the concept art that we've seen. So just humor me for a moment, if you will. Imagine you're wandering through Villians Land and you come across a path which leads to a river. Not a very big one, maybe say about, 12 feet across, 12 feet wide. And spanning that river is a covered wooden bridge. And as you're about to cross, you look down and you see these horseshoe prints embedded in the path. And alongside it, almost in the bushes, lies a green tricorn hat. And close beside it, the remains of a shattered pumpkin.
Ooh.
And crossing over that bridge, you enter the village of Sleepy Hollow. And there's the village square, the schoolhouse where Ichabod taught, the old Dutch church and surrounding Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, and up a hillside, there's Van Tassel Manor, and alongside it, the Van Tassel Farmhouse. Now, as should be gleamed from the hat and the smashed pumpkin, this is a village of Sleepy Hollow years after the events between Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman transpired. So I was thinking that with Ichabod's disappearance, the old schoolhouse has been shut down and a new one opened somewhere elsewhere, not important. However, to commemorate the legend of Ichabod's disappearance, the villagers have honored Ichabod Crane by converting the old schoolhouse where he taught into a tavern called the Crane's Nest. That's what I'm calling it.
Nice.
I was going to call it Ichabod's, but I like the Crane's Nest.
I like Crane's Nest. Yeah.
And the theming of that could be that of an old schoolhouse with chalkboards behind the bar, maps hanging on the wall, textbooks on the shelves. You can even have microscopes, maybe even a globe or pencil sharpeners, those old school pencil sharpeners you have to walk up to and when you're in class.
We still have those.
Oh, do you?
Mhm.
Oh, those things are awesome.
Those
I
things
love
are
those.
great.
Man,
They did
I-
the job.
my pencil never got as sharp.
I know.
But yeah, the tables and chairs could all resemble desks, and hanging above the entrance is, of course, a giant portrait of Ichabod Crane. The Van Tassel Farmhouse, where they held the Halloween dance and Brom Bones told the story of the Headless Horseman, could be the land's restaurant. And I'm thinking that they could be called, in tribute to my former favorite character dining place, 1900 Park Fair, I'm thinking Farmhouse Fair. That's what I would call it. And it would still be decorated for the dance with the pumpkins and the hay and the corn stalks strewn about. And it'll serve your traditional family style hearty meal like meats and potatoes and fried chicken, mac and cheese, all the like. And it'll also have a stage where a live band can play called the Sleepy Hollow Boys. And they'll play your traditional folk and country tunes with their fiddles and their flutes. And periodically, Brom Bones will come to the stage and he'll sing us the story of the Headless Horseman. Now, Brom Bones to me would be a central part of the theming of this land within a land, because since Ichabod disappeared, Brom married Katrina Van Tassel, And so now he's a very important person in Sleepy Hollow. So in this timeline, Katrina's father, Baltus Van Tassel, has passed away, and Brom and Katrina have taken over Van Tassel Manor. And Brom, who's known for his pranks and his practical jokes, has decided to cash in on the notoriety of the legend of Sleepy Hollow by offering tours through the Hollow, guaranteeing an encounter with the Headless Horseman.
Nice. I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Will it be like a meet and greet or?
No, it's going to be an attraction.
Okay.
And that's what brings us to our main attraction. So our show building facade is going to be Van Tassel Manor, and the attraction will be called the Headless Horseman Hayride.
Hey,
fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
Who doesn't love a Halloween hayride?
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. And I'm thinking the queue could be like a tour through Van Tassel Manor where you get to see the generations of Van Tassels coming about, maybe even a reference here and there to Ichabod and his encounter with the Headless Horseman. But I'm kind of picturing this as an indoor roller coaster, kind of similar to Gringotts. But the first 2 rows of our ride vehicles will look like horses. And guests will have to straddle the saddle style seating to like Picturetron, but instead of light cycles, horses. And the remaining 6 rows look like wagons, which offer more traditional seating for older visitors or people who don't want to contort themselves in that position.
Love it.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you. And as you take off, you start slowly through the hollow. You follow the trail through the cemetery that Ichabod did in his encounter with the Headless Horseman. And all this is in the show building. By the way, it's not the actual land because we want to keep it night. It's all got to happen at night. And suddenly the ride slows down and you catch a glimpse of the Headless Horseman riding beside you. Only he looks a little bit off.
Oh?
A chase ensues and the horseman takes a spill. And as you round a corner, you realize it was just Brom Bones with a fake headless top on. And he was just working you for your money.
I thought you were saying the pumpkin was green instead of orange. It wasn't feeling too good.
It wasn't ripe yet?
So you sigh with relief until you hear a chilling laugh in the distance and the real horseman appears. And then a chase ensues with several near encounters with the horseman, some via screen and some via practical effects. But it ends when we cross the covered bridge and the ride vehicles rotate backwards, just as we see a pumpkin fly overhead and explode behind us, where you hear the crash and you see the lightning effects and everything like that. Just like that. Perfect.
Just like that.
Boom.
And you escape the actual Headless Horseman.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's always free.
By the scare of our chinny chin chin.
Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly. That's what I would like to say. But if I'm being honest, that just does not fit in the Villians Land that we saw.
I like that, though.
It fits so much better in Liberty Square than the dark, thorny, rocky terrain of what Villians Land looks to be.
But he is a villain. And
Yeah.
he's scary as hell.
My next thought was then to go with my favorite villain, Dr. Facilier.
Yes.
As you brought up before, Kevin. However, again, if I'm being practical, apparently Disney isn't using him in the Princess and the Frog ride because they're allegedly worried about upsetting the voodoo community.
Well, you can't blame him. You don't want an executive voodoo doll just hanging out there. You don't know nothing.
I mean,
about
listen.
it. That's
Yeah,
true.
I don't really want to mess with voodoo either.
Yeah, you don't want a Bakor showing up, like, you know.
But all the voodoo practitioners are like, please mess with us.
You don't want a zombie being like, I'm going to take over your money pillow now.
We have, look, in New Orleans, we have voodoo lounges, voodoo barbecue, voodoo cafe. Everything around here there's some kind of a voodoo theming.
Well, James Bond did beat voodoo at one point.
He did.
Live and let die.
Yes.
For those
Okay.
who don't
So
know.
I don't understand this whole thing of offending voodoo practitioners, as the many of them that they are. But it is what it is. They're not going to do it. So again, I'm a student of the practical. You know what I'm saying? I like to do things that are practical. You know, it's like if you're imagining like, hey, I want to be with a pretty girl. So you could imagine yourself being with, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Or you could imagine yourself being with the girl next door.
Yeah.
Which one is more likely to happen?
Girl next door.
Exactly.
Oh.
So that's where my head kind of goes to. I want to go with things that might actually happen. So Not to mention Dr. Facilier's Voodoo Emporium is kind of hidden in a way in a dark, shady alley of the French Quarter, so it doesn't really seem to fit in Villians Lair anyway. So I threw that one away as well.
Boom. But I mean, he would have had some impact.
Oh no, for sure. Like I could see, like, I don't want to do an attraction. I want to do like a show. Like with Dr. Facilier, similar to like the Tiki Room, where the masks are singing along and the shadow demons are following them along the room.
Oh, that's cool.
That'd be cool.
I would have loved to have
That'd
seen
be
something
awesome,
like that. But if they're not going to do it, as much as I want it, what's the point of me developing this? I need to develop something that I think they're actually going to do, right?
But blue sky. It's blue sky.
I know it's blue sky, but blue skies are all the more bluer when you realize they may actually happen.
Practical.
Ultimately, practical and pragmatic.
Enthusiasms.
Ultimately, I went with one of my other favorite Disney movies that doesn't get near enough love.
What's that?
Hercules.
Oh, I love Hercules. Hercules.
So I selected Hades as my villain of choice for the land.
Love it.
Yeah, he's very charismatic.
He's the perfect combustion.
So the thing of it is like, okay, so how do you get to Hades? And since a lot of the folklore surrounding entrances to the underworld involve caves, I'm like, perfect. One of those large, jagged rock formations seen in the concept art could easily act as a large entrance that acts as a portal between worlds. And on either side of the entrance, carved into the rockwork, could be these ornate pillars with an arch overhead, so it looks like a doorway, with the word Underworld engraved above. And just to be cheesy, we can have it in flashing lights for all I care. Neon lights. Kind of like Beetlejuice, like with, Dante's Inferno. With the
Girls here.
Girls here. Dancing. Yeah.
So once you enter, you'll descend some stairs. And so to give y'all all a jumping off point, this is what I'm thinking I want this to be. And I think when I say it, all three of y'all will get it immediately. Once you enter and you descend those stairs, I want it to be similar to stepping foot into the Mexican pavilion in Epcot, where you think you're setting foot in this ancient temple, but the world opens up when you step inside, and now you're in this open plaza with a restaurant and a bar and shopping, and there's a boat ride attraction. And that's what I want for this. I want the interior of the underworld to have all those offerings.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
But instead of a large outdoor plaza inside of a Mexican period, it'd be like stepping foot into an eerie underground world where everything is just carved out of rockwork. Similar kind of like to like the holding area for It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Yeah.
Except on a much larger scale. And instead of earth, everything is just sculpted out of rock.
There's a lot of fire pits.
Right. Exactly. I want to create a large sculpted cavern with trickling streams and fires and intricate rockwork designs, and everything is lit by candlelight.
Everything's got to be blue.
Almost like an underground city.
A blue hue, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it'd be beautiful. Yeah.
I like that. That's a cool vibe.
I look great now.
Yeah.
I like that.
So using the Mexican pavilion as a reference point, picture the pyramid that serves as the backdrop for the interior of the pavilion. How it's surrounded with water, creating an indoor lagoon where you go into Grand Fiesta Tour. Well, the backdrop for the underworld would be that large skull-like structure that serves as Hades' lair.
Yeah, the thing's cool.
Yes. Yeah. And surrounding it would be the river Styx. And the water would be glowing with the souls traveling through it. And that's a reference to you too, because you did the river Styx as well. Yes. And so guests will board a ferry boat and be taken into the underworld for a tour conducted by Hades himself. And I'm thinking of calling this boat ride Voyage to the Underworld. That's the best I could come up with. I don't know. Maybe I can come
that's
up with something better.
No, that's good.
Each ferry boat would have an animatronic Charon on it.
Nice.
The ferryman who takes souls into the river Styx.
Yeah.
Stationed on the stern of the boat, very back of the boat. And while I'm not a big fan of the projection face animatronics, I'm thinking this would be a good use of the technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like have him covered in a giant cloak where only his hands and his face is visible, and that'll come into play later. And this ride would be similar to the Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai ride. That's what I've been looking to get in here. A good mix of practical effects and screens. We'll start off where we meet the fates and the fates bid us well on our journey, but attempt to warn us that not all is as it seems. But before they can elaborate, they're interrupted by Hades, who assures us that this is just totally harmless, just a little tour, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. We're just going to go ahead and take you on. We're just going to show you how things operate here in the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And then next we're going to come across a large animatronic of Cerberus, the 3-headed dog who guards the entrance to the underworld.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And he'll give us some growls and some menacing barking, but Hades throws Cerberus a steak and tells him to heal. These are his guests. Everything's in line.
Hopefully it's 3 steaks.
Oh, well.
Well, it's a big
Let the
steak.
3 heads fight over the
It's a
one
big
steak.
It's a big
yes.
steak.
That's
Yeah,
good.
little
And
puppies.
That's
It's
still
cute.
entertaining. Yeah.
I like it.
And we sail a little bit further along, and next up is the giant Cyclops, who is trapped in a cage because, as Hades explains, he's imprisoned there for not being able to best Hercules after Hades tricked him out of his power and allowed him to kill Hercules, but
Oh, wow.
He
goofed
couldn't
up and didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he only had one eye. He needed bifocals.
One eye. One eye guy.
Then we get we descend into the depths of the river Styx, where we see the souls of the departed floating past. And as we make our way to Tartarus, the undersea prison where Zeus imprisoned the elemental titans. So this is where the screen technology from Shanghai comes into effect, where you sink below the river and now you're down into the depths of, and then the waves part. And then underneath it all, you can see that prison, Tartarus, where the titans are imprisoned.
I dig it.
And this is where Hades unveils his evil plan and letting us know that he's making this tour permanent.
How you doing? You live here now.
And
You
the
say-
titans break out,
Oh.
and there's your Earth Titan and your Wind Titan, your Fire Titan, and they're just coming at
Oh, that's
you.
awesome.
And as they're approaching onto you, in swoops Hercules and Pegasus ready for battle.
Nice.
And I figure this would be a great place for some practical effects as well. You can feel the heat from the lava titan, the cold from the ice titan, the wind,
sound,
all that. You
yeah,
get the picture.
energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, Hades is looking like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
We got
Exactly.
this.
And then the Titans are defeated by Hercules. The river returns to normal. And as we sail by Hades, who tells us that this isn't over yet, he saved his worst for last. And as we round the corner, we come face to face with a giant animatronic Hydra.
Oh, the boss level.
The boss level.
I love it.
I
Final
love a
boss.
Hydra. I love a Hydra.
And the boat stops, and we hear Hercules' voice say, "How about we not go this way?" And as we look back, the projected face of Charon has changed, and now it's Hercules.
Oh.
And so now Hercules is steering the boat, and we sail backwards from the Hydra. And so I thought that would be a cool effect, kind of like what do you got? Norway, like
Norway,
Maelstrom.
yeah. Back. Over the falls.
So we go backwards and we zip past all the bad things in the underworld until we stop and we move forward again and proceed through Elysian Fields, the final resting place for the good and the heroic amongst the gods.
Ooh.
And this is the part of the underworld that is protected by Zeus and is filled with beautiful valleys and temples where we see animatronic versions of the gods and goddesses enjoying their eternal rest and relaxation in Elysian Fields. And from there, we would unload and enjoy the rest of what the underworld has to offer.
Nice.
It'll be funny though, is like if someone in the Elysian Fields started to act up with Zeus, like, hey, Hades is right here.
And there was potholes.
Yeah, like, hey, you talk to him. You're not right. Like, no, I like that though. Yeah.
He can't do anything in Elysian Fields because Zeus has protected it.
Right, that's what I'm
right,
saying.
that's
But
right.
somebody comes in and complains, and Zeus is like, hey, Hades is right here if you don't like it.
You can go back.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And now, okay, so once you disembark on the ride, kind of similar to how the San Angel Inn is nestled along the river in Mexico, and guests can dine while seeing others part off on their journey towards the Grand Fiesta Tour, the underworld will be no different.
Do we get like a band, like, at the end?
A Mexican band?
No, I don't have a band per se.
I always remember that, the
Oh, no, that's
I
a lot
can't
of
think of
fun.
it.
mariachi band. I understand that doesn't cross it with the theme. I totally
No.
get that.
I'm sure we could work out something.
Get a centaur guy.
Yes.
Or the grandfather from Coco.
Oh, there you go.
I forget what his name was.
Alberto wait, it was his name? Not Alberto
forget.
Del Rios. What am I trying to say? I'm
You
thinking
said
of the wrestler. Oh man, Ernesto de la Cruz.
Yeah.
Ernesto de la Cruz.
Remember me.
Yeah.
Remember me.
Do I have to say goodbye?
Yeah, but no, I like it. I like the general thought because I'm a fan of Greek mythology.
Yeah, me too.
In general. So that's why I was like, when you come back, is a thing where like, you know, it doesn't have to be a mariachi band, although because I have, you know, fond memories of this girl that led the mariachi band. But like, you know, like you said, like Furies or somebody that's like they're playing a harp. Or something like that when you come back.
Yes. If you want to do like a live band, yes, we could totally do it. Go ahead and hire some live musicians to go ahead and do that.
I apologize. This your blue scooter.
No,
man, I'm
no.
just jumping myself in. I liked it though.
No, I like the idea of having a ride along the river Styx.
Yes.
And I could see this actually fitting into the concept that art that we saw there. And I love how the Mexican pavilion lays it all out. Like to me, the Mexican pavilion is just genius. How you walk in and it's not what you thought you were walking into. Like you think you're walking in, you're going to see this old dusty pyramid and you're like, I'm walking into an outdoor market. I'm walking into, there's a restaurant and there's a bar and there's a ride. And this is so cool.
There's a lot you can do with that.
Yeah.
But it takes you out of it.
It does.
At the same time. So I like how you were able to incorporate all of that to have that same theme.
And I like this idea of there being an underground city. I think that would be really, really cool. Like, and so let me get to the restaurant aspect of this.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the restaurant in the underworld would be no different than San Angel Inn, where you kind of sit along the banks of the River Styx. However, this one is going to be called, and I named this on purpose because I just kind of felt like, again, we're doing Villians Land, but we need some, like, who wants dinner to be dismal? You know?
Right. Yeah. I think that's maybe why I want desserts too.
Exactly. So I want a little bit of excitement for dinner. So I felt like, why not call this restaurant Elysian Fields and go into that part of the underworld mythology that Hades cannot control? Because who wants to be in a dark, dismal cave for dinner? You know, so...
But you also went to Villians Land.
You did.
That's a weird... But yeah, there's no...
Yeah, but you get a little respite.
Yes.
With Elysian Fields. Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just was like...
Yeah, no, I think that.
So once you enter, like you notice like a distinctive change in the tenor of the environment for sure. You would have dinner inside this large grotto with waterfalls and lush greenery and statues and pottery everywhere. And there would be homages to the different heroic gods like Zeus and Athena and Poseidon.
Aphrodite. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Aphrodite. Fine, put them all in there. The tables would be like sculpted out of the rock, and the seats would seem to rise out of the floor.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the menu would be definitely Mediterranean because I love Mediterranean food. I mean, I want to have a Mediterranean
being in a
restaurant.
scroll, some sort. The menu would be a prefix menu, be in the scroll. I like that.
Yeah, that's why I threw Greek in mine. Yeah.
I think Magic Kingdom could use that, and it's so popular at Mythos. So, like, it works.
Yeah,
Easily.
Yes.
I think there's a lot you can do with that IP in general.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like it's steeped in Disney lore, if you will.
Yes.
I mean, but it also has like, you know, the Greek lore to it. So yeah, that's got
and it seems
potential.
tailor-made for Villians Land.
Yeah.
Because if you look at what Villians Land looks like, this looks like it would fit there.
Absolutely. Like once you started breaking out like the monsters in general, like you could do that all day. I mean, like what you said, the hydrant knew who that was. Like,
I could have kept going. I just didn't want to be all here all day. I mean,
I know
there was a lot of
There's
monsters
a lot you
in
could do,
Hercules.
yeah.
that you
Well, that
could
was
have
the same
pulled
thing
from.
with like the Lilith thing. It was like, yeah, that's still a Greek thing. It's like, yeah,
I love it.
yeah, but I like it.
Now we got to make our way to a bar area real quick.
Ooh,
Yes,
wee.
please.
Ain't
Yes.
nothing like-
Which
yeah.
I need a drink.
going with the more dismal version of the underworld now, since we have exited the Elysian Fields
Well, now we hit the
area.
bar, so yeah.
I'm just going to call this bar Spirits.
Yeah. Fun.
Very nice.
And I like the idea of there being like several little sculpted caverns within that are all lit with this eerie phosphorescent glow, and each booth kind of feels like its own little mini cave where you just kind of have like a little picture. Star Wars, New Hope, where the Creature Cantina, where like it kind of felt like it was almost sculpted out of cave, and to a respect, and all these little booths were kind of sculpted out of. That's what I wanted for that. And the walls would have all these intricate designs carved into them. And occasionally, like, you know, you will see these large sculpted figures representing some of the Greek gods who've been doomed to the underworld, jutting out of the wrought work. Like sometimes you just see their face, but other times it's like their whole, like they're reaching out to you, like, save me, like I've been damned here for all eternity. And like, yeah, like you look around, you feel like you're in this well of lost souls, and even above you is this swirling green sea of souls,
like lights. I like it.
Lights,
yeah,
kind of like the river. Yeah, exactly.
And stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
And lastly, for merchandise, I feel like Pain and Panic have to open a gift shop.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Like an open market gift shop, and I want to call it Relics.
Oh, fun.
Nice.
I like that.
I like the idea of it being called Relics just because of the mythology theme.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
I like that.
That's what I would do. I think that the underworld needs to be its own little mini land.
Yeah, I like the idea of likening it to the Mexico pyramid. Like I that was easy for me to like conceptualize, like, oh, that's how that would work. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to do there, is just kind of give y'all a kind of a common experience that you could easily relate
to.
Yeah.
I think Mexico is genius. The way they have that pyramid. I mean, if you walk in there, you literally think you're going to be walking into some kind of an old, dusty kind of cavernous kind of thing. And it is so much fun.
It's a better use of that area.
Yes.
For that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
But to be clear, I'd rather go with the Headless Horseman. I love the Headless Horseman.
I think I like that piece. I think that's a great little piece of the story.
Yeah.
Sure.
I do too. Like, you know, I really would love to see that one day. We'll never see it, but
That's why
I
it's
would
blue sky,
love to see it, because the Headless Horseman always scared the out of me when I was a kid.
Oh, easily.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole story.
It's about launching that at you.
Oh, I had the little record that had like how his head got blew off by a cannonball and everything. Oh, it used to freak me out.
Yeah. Save here.
Mm-hmm.
Save here.
Well, y'all, we hope you enjoyed that episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. Look, if you want to learn more about us, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, if you want to get in touch with us to share your opinions on anything we've thought about or created, you can do so through the following ways. First, shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com, or call or send us a text message at 1-815-WEEKEND. That's 1-815-MOWEEKEND 669-4226.
You just made it.
I did. Yeah.
Barely.
I did. Skin in my teeth. And look, we have a couple of people who do things outside the podcast. First of all, we got Eli Does Things with Comics. Eli, what's up, sir?
Yes, sir. Again, appreciate the support everybody brings. When you go out there to www.ivorycomics.com, see all the work that I have out there. And I love everybody say, hey, man, I would draw this, and I like how you did this and that. I mean, like, that's over the years, but that's always awesome.
I like how you did that and this.
Yeah.
Like this and like that? Like
and this and
like and this and yeah.
And it's like that. And I got nothing to prove, because, hey, watch out for the next episode. But yes, you can see all the work that has been done that leads to all this historical fact, such as Project Geisha, Savages, and the Molly Be Damned. Blogs, and interview posts, and of course, a link to the Magic Our Way podcast, so you never miss a beat, you never miss an episode, you never miss a blue sky that can lead to any kind of sky. So again, appreciate the support on that. Always visit www.ivorycomics.com when you get a chance. Appreciate that support. On social media, hanging out there, Facebook.com, Eli H. Ivers, where you can find me. As long as you're a real person, it's a pleasure to meet you. If you are not, that means you're a bot. Too tired to greet you. I cannot do that. Bot offered me a free trip, and I said, let me talk to Rachel. The bot said, I don't know you. I'm just saying.
The bot said, who's Rachel?
Who's Rachel? And
right.
I was like, oh man, this is too much.
Well, if the bot don't know Rachel, bot don't know.
That's because it's a bot.
Bot don't know.
The bot tried to, impersonate like, my uncle. I was like, hey, man, come on. What I listen to?
They can't stand that bot.
Can't stand
unless it's a currency in India.
See, but you know what the funny thing is? Every now and again,
I got it.
somebody writes to us and says, oh, I see what you're talking about with the bots. Like, yeah, I'm not some weird guy that just shows up out the blue in the time stream, as you will.
Bot.
And just says they are bots. Stuff is out there. I'm an IT guy. 2
Bots
years from
love
now,
you.
The bots will take over. They just tested me now. I'm beta tested. Worried about that. Help me. Anyway, also on Facebook, it's a Project Geisha fan page. So facebook.com/Project Geisha. On Instagram, I post up the hearts and the likes to see what you guys got. And I love it. I love following it. I mean, like, we got Jay Wobble. Guy met us on an airplane.
Yes.
Jay Wobble.
Yeah, it was a guy who just met us randomly we were going on a trip.
Did he wobble?
Wobble, wobble, wobble.
I know, that's what I was just doing. I'm
just saying,
You were wobbling? Yeah, you were
we
wobbling,
just
yeah.
talked and stuff like that. It said, what's the Instagram thing? Boom. And boom.
Plane was
Follow it
wobbling.
up, doing the hearts and the likes, doing the posts, seeing his glory, sharing the story, all that. EIV504 is how that happens. And of course, on X, you can find me on Hancock 10166. So yes, if you appreciate the madness, you're just bringing me the gladness. Thank you very much. Blue sky all day.
Boom. And if you want to book a vacation during the holiday season, you can do so through Rachel. Rachel, tell them how to do this.
Yes, the best way to get in contact with me is email. My email is Rachel, RACHEL @magicourway.com. You can also call or send me a text message. My number is 978-432-WISH, WISH. And like I said, you can call or text at that number. And I would be honored to help you and your family or your friends or whoever you're traveling with plan a fantastic vacation. I plan trips to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney. If you'd like to try that out, I would love to book one of those. So please reach out. I also do Royal Caribbean, Virgin Voyages, Universal Parks and Resorts. Epic Universe is now open for sale. You can book packages, and I've got all of the details on how you can get to Epic Universe. So if that's on your 2025 list of to-dos, I would love to help you do that. Why would you want to book with me when you could just go online and book it yourself? Well, I will be your advocate and your ally as you plan this trip. I can help as little or as much as you'd like. If you want a lot of help, I can do that. If you want me to just click the button and have your payments process and then you don't want to hear from me, I can do that too, because maybe you just want to support this podcast. And one of the best benefits of booking with me is that a small piece of your trip comes back to support this podcast and this podcast community. And it is at no extra cost to you. You pay the same thing if you book it with Disney as you would if you book it with me. In fact, sometimes if you book it with me, you pay less because Disney's not trying to get you promotions applied to your package. And I'm always trying to get you discounts. So another good reason to have an ally and an advocate on your side. So if you'd like to reach out, again, email, phone. And you can also find me on social media. I'm at Our Family Magic. That's the letter R and then the words Family Magic all together on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube and Facebook. So thank you so much. And again, I would be honored to help you plan your trip. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
So if y'all want to access all the info we just mentioned, go to magicourway.com/about us. Also, if you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way. And another option to support us, and it only costs a minute or so of your time, is to leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, etc. Any way in which you could support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So we say Quahirini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
All right. Nachos are on plates.
And you are. Bye!